But as people are growing, you meet different types of challenges. But all I'm trying to say in one sentence, I'm not a stranger to conflict. I'm not a stranger to insults. I'm not a stranger to marginalization. I have lived all my life in conflict with whoever the system is. I come back now. Before I come back here, I make a video the other day as to why am I going back to Zimbabwe. Because the South African community is busy commenting like you are commenting also. Please go back to your country. Stop telling us you're rubbish. We're not interested in you involved in South African politics. Go back and fix Zimbabwe. And I accept the challenge. And I said, I will go back to Zimbabwe. I can categorically state today, for your own consumption, sorry for the bad news for some of you who wish me bad luck. I was not deported from South Africa. It's a lie for those who don't like me and want to perpetuate a narrative that I'm a refugee in South Africa. I came into South Africa in 1992. I am not an illegal immigrant. I have all my passports with my visa stamps that are in them, extensions and extensions and extensions, until I got my permanent resident status in South Africa. And I was not deported. I flew out of South Africa last week. I'll be flying back in there again anytime. I am free to travel. It's not true that I have a fake ID document. My ID number ends with 188. My ID is written Zimbabwe. I don't want to be a South African. Let me put that on record. I don't want to be a South African. Now, the South African community, some of the South African community say I must go back home and talk what I'm talking from my own country, because the narrative that I'm promoting does not fit their common narrative. And I accept and I come to Zimbabwe. When I walk into Zimbabwe, the conflict that I come here and find is that some of the Zimbabwean community and now say, you must go back to South Africa. With rumors that are going around that I'm receiving money and I'm being paid for what I'm doing, it's not true. What I have done is set up a media space in Zimbabwe through which we're going to now pick up Zimbabwe's narrative and make it an African narrative. And while we are solving the Zimbabwean problems, I hope by the end of my life, I would have placed it on a table where there will be a blueprint of how does a modern generation transform its own society and build the future that it wants for its own children. We cannot give back land to the white people again. No, that will not happen. We cannot go back on some of those. And all other African countries that don't have land in their hands, they must know they're still not liberated until the African has land, has access to production, has access to farming, has access to mining, has access to housing, accommodation, traveling, and roads. You cannot talk democracy and talk liberation and sing stupid national anthems when you don't own your land in your hands. And now that Zimbabwe has land in its own hands, the next question I have for ZANU-PF, what are you going to do with that land? The land that is sitting in the hands of political leaders who are not able to utilize that land. That land must be taken away from the political leaders and be given to the young people, be given to the farmers who can create food out of those farms. I'm not confused in my mission in life. I'm not confused in my desire in life. I'm not confused in what I want to spend my life in. The life of the nation is far much important than the stupid politicking that we do here, fighting each other as small little political parties. We all know very well, until the economy is in the hands of the Africans, there's no subject we can talk about in terms of opposition leaders, because all opposition leaders are sponsored by colonial systems. And until Africans own the means of productions, they cannot be able to influence the political environment in which they are working in. And secondly, I will not pass here before I pass a comment to the South African community who are harassing the Zimbabweans who are in South Africa, saying Zimbabweans must go back to their country. Good news for you. The Zimbabweans can come back to their country as you are chasing them away. But remember, while you are doing that, we have more than 65, if not 120 South African companies that are working in Zimbabwe. 60 to 70 companies that are working in Zimbabwe. Can you tell me, South African, how many Zimbabwean companies are in South Africa? How many Zimbabwean companies are in South Africa? On the contrary, How many South African companies are in Zimbabwe? Now you want to play this game of you do this and we do this. So if you say Zimbabweans Makwerekwere must go back home, maybe it's time also we close down Pick and Pay. Maybe it's time also we close one of your biggest companies that is here, that is Zimplats. Maybe it's time also we close down all these British, Dutch, Afrikaner shops that are lying to the country, to South Africa. I'll tell you how. They open Pick and Pay here, they open a Pick and Pay in South Africa, they make money in Zimbabwe, and they transfer that money to a South African bank, smuggling millions of dollars from the Zimbabwean economy, feeding the South African government. This is a fact, including Zimplats, which is aligned to your platinum mines in Marikana there. They are robbing Zimbabwe of billions of dollars, transferring money between companies, between the South African company and the Zimbabwean money. And Zimbabwe is losing billions of dollars to South African criminal businesses that are not declaring that money and profiting the business of the country. And you want to tell us that Zimbabwe is poor? We can also take these businesses and make them indigenous. So the problem we are dealing with right now, we are not dealing with white people as a problem. We are dealing with South African companies, some of them hiding on the faces of black men in South Africa, who are ripping off Zimbabwean economy, benefiting South African economy. And much of the deposits, I have it on record, more than 20 to 30% of your bank deposits in your country are coming from foreign accounts, and Zimbabwe is 70 to 80% contributor of that budget. So South Africa is building itself. We've gone through apartheid. Now we are being abused by fellow Africans who are hiding behind multinational conglomerates, smuggling money out of this country, and they still stand to say Zimbabwe must be in sanctions. But while they're in sanctions, they are stealing money from the economy. And to some of the simple people at the bottom, yes, you can say ZANU-PF is allowing that, but what do you do when the laws of the land are saying when you open up a business, this is how it runs? And yes, I'm not refusing that. Some of the ZANU-PF leaders are equally caught up in this mess where the corruption is happening and kickbacks are going into the pockets of some of these people at the expense of the greater community. And I say no to that. It is not right. It is not right that as South Africans, you can shout across the border, calling us Makwerekwere, we must go back home. But yet you know that your country is milking this country dry. A great percentage of the diamonds on the kimberlite right now as we speak are not South African diamonds. They are Zimbabwean and Congo diamonds. A great percentage of the gold right now on your gold refineries in South Africa is not South African gold. It is Zimbabwe gold. I'll tell you why. Your South African mines in South Africa have gone too deep now. Mining has become too expensive. Zimbabwe is still on open cast mining. It's cheaper to run. South African companies are digging gold here. And when they are not digging it, they are smuggling it out of here, supporting the South African Stock Exchange. And you say you don't want a relationship with Zimbabwe? Zimbabweans must come back home? Maybe you are right. Maybe you are right that Zimbabweans must come back home. But when they come back home, under such circumstances, you can only read the writing on the wall. That Zimbabwe is 60% shareholder of your market share when it comes to export. We consume 60% of South African products. You want to start that war? We can import our oil from Kenya. We can import our oils from Tanzania. We can import our oils straight from Sudan through Mozambique, Beira. Sasol will close down. Total will close down. Engine will close down. Those very jobs that you're talking about are not sustainable because the South African economy is not in the hands of the black people. So I want the South African people to start thinking. Start thinking. Stop being pepped up by political slogans which are driven by the white ideologies. We are brothers. And half of you shouting Zimbabweans must go home, you are children of migrant laborers from Mozambique, migrant laborers from Zambia, migrant laborers from Malawi, from Botswana, from Swaziland, from Lesotho. You would rather kill your own uncles, your own brothers in the name of our economy. Do you have an economy in South Africa? Do you have an economy? My passion for the African continent is undiluted. My understanding is still limited. I am here as a student. I will not stop learning because you don't like the way I think. MDC is not the only thinking machine in the world. ZANU-PF cannot be the only solution that is in the world. I believe there are solutions that are within ZANU-PF. There are solutions that are within MDC. And if these systems can stop politics and start talking national strategy, we can build this country faster in the south than anybody else. Next to Congo, Zimbabwe could be one of the richest countries in the SADC region. And we know why the Western world does not want Zimbabwe to become stable. Because our stability will destabilize their economic benefits within the colonial governments they've put in the south. So watch the space as we begin to put our minds on our resources. The agenda is about to change.